Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. I've got good news and I have bad news. I'll start with the bad news first. Paychecks from private business shrank to their smallest share of personal income in the history of the United States. What that means is now only 42% of personal income comes from private company. While government-provided benefits like Social Security and food stamps rose to all-time highs. That is an unsustainable pattern. But the really bad news is many things that we have said are starting to happen right now. We're going to show you, I think there's like 5 or 6 of the things that are just have happened this week. I'll show you tonight where it's all leading us. And the good news? Actually, there is good news tonight. I have an answer, and it seems pretty simple, but I do have an answer for you tonight, but you have to see where we've been and where we're headed. I've been telling you lately to stand in the truth, because if you don't, it's only a matter of time before the truth finds you. Everything is about to change in this country. It really is. I think you're feeling it. Truth is a fire, and it's a fire that only lies start. And it will eventually consume everything other than the truth. So that's why I've been saying to you, you get yourself right. You get your family right. You stop lying even to yourself. You stand in the truth. Just as important, you teach your children to stand in the truth. We have to change the way we are dealing with our children. We got to stop handing them trophies they didn't earn. We have to raise the next George Washington or Abe Lincoln. Stop asking our kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And start saying things like, you can be the next George Washington. When you get yourself right, then and only then can we begin to demand it from others and hold people accountable for their actions. I think you get that. I think the truth matters to you. I think that's why you're here, and you question even everything I say. You should. Do your own homework. Know what's true. Don't trust me. Don't trust anybody. But it doesn't matter. The truth doesn't. It seems in Washington they haven't gotten that yet. It doesn't matter to the media, it seems, at all at times. They're continuing with the same old stuff. I mean, everybody in Washington is bashing the Arizona immigration law without even reading it, and the media is not pointing out that these people are clowns. They've never even read it. Everything is based in the Arizona law. Everything is based in the Constitution and federal law. You're also being told that the economy is on the rebound. You're being told by a congressman. Here he is, Congressman Weiner, that I'm scaring you into buying gold. Okay, this is what he said last night on O'Reilly. He's been saying it for a while, that I'm scaring people on buying gold. And now the new one is the Better Business Bureau is scamming people. Really? Where's the media on that one? Now we're trashing the BBB? But then economic advisor Paul Volcker for Obama says the time is growing short to address our economic problems in time. Wait a minute. I'm scaring people, but Paul Volcker is scary. Plus, there's another stimulus act coming. Did you know that? Yep, there's another one. Except this one is being called the American Jobs and Closing Tax Loopholes Act of 2010. In hopes that you didn't notice that it's a stimulus act. That's all it is. The only thing progressives are good at is changing the names of things, This thing is going to add another $134 billion to the deficit, breaking the pay-as-you-go promise, which I don't think was a promise. No, it wasn't. It was more like the Americans who like to sound like they're telling the truth but are lying their faces off because they're dirtbag politicians act. The new House Ways and Means chairman, Sander Levin, defies the deficit spending, and he does it by invoking, say it with me, the emergency provisions. It's an emergency. But I'm the fearmonger. Stand in the truth. I wish the stuff that was happening in Washington, these fairy tale jobs that they're creating, now 42% of all jobs, all income, is coming from the private sector. Only 42%. I wish that what they're creating in Washington were true. I do, but it's not. Deval Patrick said, there are people out there who are hoping the president fails. I think that's close to sedition. Of course you do. Of course you do. It's another way to shut people up. I don't want the president to fail. I want the president to be right, but he's not. He's not. And how do I know? Because it's all been tried before. That's why we're teaching you history on this program. He's wrong. He just is. That doesn't make him a bad guy. The good news is, the truth is getting easier to figure out because there's more and more evidence every day. More and more people are waking up because things are getting scarier and scarier. Not because I tell you they're scary. It's just becoming more obvious. But the more obvious it becomes, some people will push their heads deeper into the sand, and that's the real danger. I know you're probably the same way I am. I hope people wake up, and more people are, but at the same time, we're going to so split that we won't even see each other anymore. People will completely disconnect. And after a while, all of this stuff adds up, and you're going to be faced with that same decision. I think that's where we're at. We're at the beginning of that process. You start to look at it and say, okay, am I going to deny it? Or am I going to look at it really and say, okay, I think this is where we're headed. I want to show you where we are and what's happened just in the last few days. And I want to show you about the things that we've talked about. I mean, I've told you about how the stock market will continue to fluctuate and destroy wealth. It's going to go up, it's going to go down. It's going to have bear market rallies. This is from last year.
And what it means is in the market of fear where everybody is right now, all of a sudden the market starts to rally and it can go up, you know, from 400 points to 4,000 points. It could just rally all the way up, but it's not real. And a bear rally then comes down and comes crashing down and destroys all of the wealth.
Okay, this is what happened in the 1930s. The Dow was wildly unsteady then. It's unsteady now. Today, in the first 2 minutes, the Dow lost 200 points before rebounding and ending down, but only 22 points, closing above 10,000. It's been spiking and dipping, spiking and dipping. How much have we lost this month alone? What, 900, 1,100 points? I want to show you a chart. This is the S&P since 2000. Can you bring it up? Here it is. Today's S&P 500 since the 2000 peak. You see this? Now, there are some people that say that this reminds them of Japan. Put the Japan, the Nikkei up. There you go. There's the Nikkei. Okay? Now, here's Japan, and see how it's kind of similar? Now, Japan has had a lost decade in the 90s after their bubble burst, resulting in a massive stock crash, debt crisis. And it does kind of look like this, and, you know, people say this is what's coming. We're going to be Japan. I don't think we should look to Japan. I think we should instead, we're repeating the 1930s. We're repeating the playbook from Woodrow Wilson and FDR. So if we're doing exactly the same thing, wouldn't we get exactly the same results? Let me show you the results from the 1930s, and you compare it. Take Japan off. Isn't that more in line? That's the Great Depression. All right. Tonight I want to show you where we're headed. And liberal bloggers in your basement, you know, put your pants on for the love of Pete and put down World of Warcraft 11 and get your pencil out. Because you're going to want to write a story about this. We are headed towards global governance. Governance, not government. There is a difference, and they're going to be sure that that's pointed out, and I will later on. But just like everything else that I have said on this program, they're going to immediately, he's crazy, he's a madman, he's a fearmonger, he's saying, you know, unstable things, it's sedition, whatever. They're going to absolutely say, it's a conspiracy. No, it's not. You don't have to go to the Bilderbergers or Whataburger to get this. You just go right to them and listen. I'll give you this information, but first, I need to make sure that you understand, because they do a lot of hard work trying to discredit me and then never show you the truth of what I say when it happens. Everything I say is dismissed, and then they don't ever bring it up. They just keep dismissing it. Before I tell you where I think we're going, I need to bring you up to speed on some of the things that have happened in just the last few days and weeks. The things that they originally said was crazy or wouldn't happen, conspiracy, whatever. In the end, one of us is going to have a record on the things that count, on the big picture. We're going to get things, both sides are going to get things wrong here and there. But the big picture, the overwhelming evidence, either I'm going to be wildly wrong, and I will be happy for that, I will. Because this is not good, what I think is coming. But one of us is going to be wildly wrong, and the other will be right.